Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining part number 16. And we're looking at the background of who is Maulana Dr. Fazlur Rahman Ansari. And we're looking at this fabulous book, The Life and Thought, authored by Abdul Kader Choughley, also known as Dr. A.K. Choughley. Wonderful book. Please try and get copies of this book, as well as Islamic Intellectual Revival and other books by Maulana Ansari. So let's try and get a background of who Maulana Ansari is. And the preface to this book has been written by the son of Maulana Dr. Muhammad Ansari, and his son is Mustafa Fazil Ansari from Karachi in Pakistan. And the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us to adopt the surest way in order to qualify as his vicegerent on earth and to acquire godliness through the imitation of his attributes, as reflected in the Iswa al-Hasana, the exemplary conduct of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In this regard, the enlightened path to success has been outlined in the numerous ayat of the Quran. The word ayat is also known as the verses of the Quran. Human society has constantly shown the need for men of knowledge to serve as guides and mentors, to expound on the divine hikmah, the wisdom, and to elucidate the rationale for pursuing specific goals in the light of changing circumstances. They are also referred in the Holy Quran as men of wisdom, who are spiritually and intellectually endowed with intuitive knowledge, which is known as basirat, in both the religious and the secular domains. They strive to remove the cobwebs of confusion, distortion, and aberration in intellectual thought. The historical records of the past 1,432 years of Islamic history, and now we're in the year 1446, are embellished with names of eminent sages who identified the societal imbalances affecting Muslim life. These men of knowledge and vision, imbued with the love of Islam, played a significant role in restoring the supremacy of the Quran and Sunnah as harbingers of Islamic culture and civilization. Dr. Maulana Muhammad Fazlur Rahman Ansari al-Qadri, 1914 to 1974, emerged in an era in which witnessed spiritual malaise, moral decadence, intellectual bankruptcy, and political slavery. The fall of the Ottoman Empire and the rise of the British colonialism had wrought havoc on the morale of the Muslims. In British India, and colonial power manipulated the education system in order to imprison the Muslim mind and inculcate a servile mentality to its secular philosophy. It was against this backdrop that Dr. Ansari's intellectual outlook and spiritual acumen analyzed the manifold challenges confronting the Muslim Ummah. His academic profile stood as a bulwark against forces that sought to undermine the Islamic faith and practice. He aptly stated in his article entitled Islam and Western Civilization that the Muslim world is passing today through a crisis unprecedented in history. The crisis has been created by the impact of Western civilization on the world of Islam. It was the profundity of his knowledge and clear grasp of history that enabled his analytical mind to penetrate the insidious designs of ideological systems. The value system of an integrated and harmonious life which he advocated was in response to the strong current of modernism, which is indistinguishable from materialism sweeping across the Muslim world. Dr. Ansari's outstanding caliber as a thinker of exceptional merit was conspicuous in the numerous lectures and writings. In the context of modern thought, he has ably demonstrated the supremacy of the Islamic philosophy of integration within the framework of Tawheed, which is unity. His critique of both Western civilization and the Muslim society illustrates his intellectual and spiritual brilliance. His projection of the Quran and Sunnah as the panacea for humanity is embodied in his dynamic orthodoxy formulation. His magnum opus, the Quranic foundation and structure of Muslim society, is his enduring contribution to the Islamic intellectual renaissance, and that preface is by Mustafa Fazil Ansari, the son of Dr. Maulana Fazlur Rahman Ansari. And let's look very briefly as we try and understand the man behind these magnificent intellect and spirituality of Dr. Fazlur Rahman Ansari, and we're looking at the introduction, the first 1 or 2 pages. The study aims to examine the contributions of Dr. Maulana Muhammad Fazlur Rahman Ansari to contemporary Islamic thought. A long and checkered career spanning over 40 years, Fazlur Rahman Ansari, hereafter referred to as Maulana Ansari, is considered an important figurehead in Islamic revival and tabligh. The 20th century covers important religio-political developments in the Muslim world, and scholarly response, particularly among the ulama and intellectuals, are contextualized within the framework of Islamic resurgence. The ulama, regarded as bastions of traditional Islam, have not been immune to the challenges of technological advancement in this century. They too have been faced with the dilemmas of responding to its pervasive influence, which has changed the religious landscape of Muslim societies. Their attitude to science and technology has been ambivalent, examined in the study, and the discourse of Islamization of knowledge assumes greater importance in relation to Maulana Ansari's contributions. The ulama's worldview is also shaped by the Islamic institutions they are associated with. Maulana Ansari's pioneering contributions to Islamic resurgence encapsulate his multifaceted profile. He is an alim, a scholar, a Sufi, and a muballigh. These descriptions are elaborated in the volume to demonstrate his holistic vision of Islam as a deen. This term has assumed different meanings in the latter part of the 20th century in the Muslim world. A politicized reading of this term has given rise to the Islamist group investing new meanings to it. In contrast to this position, deen has come to be associated with a divine system with strong sociological connotations. Against these divergent interpretations, Maulana Ansari's presentation of Islam in the light of contemporary thought must be understood. Likewise, in the field of tabligh, Maulana Ansari's contributions stand out clearly. Unlike the traditional definition of tabligh, which is confined to individual effort or institutional expression, Maulana Ansari expands this concept as a collectivistic or social duty which functions in the domains of moral and spiritual life. The international tabligh tours undertaken by him have added new dimension to this concept, a network of missions connected to disseminating the message of Islam. Maulana Ansari's scholarly profile sets new precedents to this formulation of the Tawheed unity discourse. Viewed from this angle, his credentials are reflective of a rich Islamic tradition possessing the potential of guiding humanity as Khalifatullah, the vicegerent of Allah. This theme resonates in his writings and public lectures. Similarly, his presentation of tasawwuf is anchored in the Quran, Sunnah, and the Salaf al-Salih, the earliest representatives of Islam. There is no doubt that Maulana Ansari's conception of tasawwuf has the relevance of Muslims living in modern society as a life-enriching experience that leads to Allah realization. According to Maulana Ansari, Islah, which is reform, and Tazkiyah, which is spiritual purification, are the ideals to which Muslims should internalize in their lives because they are the embodiments of a dynamic Muslim society. It is interesting to note that scholarly tradition with strong links of Islamic activism has contributed significantly to Maulana Ansari's profile as a reformer of international repute. His versatility is best illustrated in his major writings, which seek to elaborate the following themes. First, the primacy of the Quran and Sunnah as harbingers of world civilization. Second, Islah and Tazkiyah as anchors of Islamic revival. Third, Islamization of knowledge. Fourth, Tabligh, a methodological approach. Fifth, Islam and the West, a critique. Sixth, vision of an Islamic society, the Quranic paradigm. A timeline approach is adopted in the study to give chronological and thematic significance to his contributions to Islamic resurgence. Let's look briefly at the major source for the study, and I would urge you to please try and get copies of these books. You can get these books from the Ahsan Academy of Research and the Shelvcraft. I've got the addresses somewhere. Okay, I've got it here. The Ahsan Academy of Research and Shelvcraft. You can get the emails there. I don't know if that's clear enough. The major sources for the study are based on Maulana Ansari's writings in English. The Quranic Foundation and Structure of Muslim Society is a voluminous study of the philosophy and moral code as given in the Quran. The dynamic orthodoxy formulated by Maulana Ansari is also elucidated in this important work. Monographs which cover an array of Islamic subjects have been used to examine Maulana Ansari's contributions to contemporary Islamic thought. His compilation of lectures have also augmented a broader understanding of his multidimensional career. Now, try and get this book. Is called Islam to the Modern Mind, Lectures in South Africa 1970 to 1972. Is an indispensable guide to understanding Maulana Ansari's scientific and philosophical exposition of Islam and for his candid counsels to Muslims in South Africa. It has a contemporary relevance for Muslims across the world to respond constructively to the challenges of secular modernity. Another book is called Islam to the Modern Mind, as the title aptly suggests. I've got it somewhere here. Islam to the Modern Mind also conveys Maulana Ansari's formulation of dynamic orthodoxy, which is an antithesis to conservatism and modernism. The lectures, edited by Yasin Muhammad and transcribed by Mahdi Creel, have stimulated great interest to study the life and works of Maulana Ansari. And another book is called Islamic Intellectual Revival of the Modern Mind. I'm sure I've got that book somewhere here as well. Look at this. Islamic Intellectual Revival is a collection of articles and lectures compiled and transcribed by Mahdi Creel. It is also useful work and covers a wide range of important topics by Maulana Ansari. The Minaret monthly organ of the World Federation of the Islamic Missions has published special issues in memory of Maulana Ansari. Biographical sketches and tributes form the themes of these issues. It may be stated that no detailed study on the life and thought of Maulana Ansari has been undertaken following his demise in 1974. Random articles have appeared in several magazines and written by ex-graduates of the Alimiyah Institute, but they are not substantive contributions. There are two strands of research related to Maulana Ansari's career that have not been covered by the present time: a biographical study and critical examination of his thought. Fortunately, a considerable number of graduates of the Alimiyah Institute have taken the initiative to translate Maulana Ansari's lectures into Urdu from Islam into the modern mind. Also, monographs by them have been written to introduce the life and thought of Maulana Ansari in Urdu. A doctoral thesis written in Arabic on Maulana Ansari's methodology to comparative religion is being completed at the Islamic University in Islamabad, Pakistan. These developments bode well for a renewed interest in his works. The translation of Islam to the Modern Mind into Portuguese has been edited by Sheikh Abdul Rashid Ismail of Mozambique. Based on the scholarly works published in South Africa on Maulana Ansari's life and thought, it is hoped that future studies will focus on his contribution to Islamic philosophy and Quranic studies. I hope that will give you some background to Maulana Ansari. And please follow the works of, these are, may Allah subhanahu reward all of them, Dr. A.K. Choughley. Then we've got Mahdi Creel, I think it's Professor Mahdi Creel. Then it's Professor Yasin Muhammad and others, and then the ones who are sponsoring them, the Ahsan Academy of Research, the Shelvcraft, and all of them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward all of you abundantly. And please share this with the Janji and share this with others so that we can try and combine Islam with science and spirituality. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah Rabbil-Aa'la'meen.